Alright. Well, greetings back to black.
Greetings.
We're recording, you know what I mean? We finally live. So we going with it as it here. No, recording. I recording it. I ain't fighting up with that. Alright, and we go upload after. So fellas, what you saying?
Goodness.
Yeah man, all is well.
A pleasure being here.
So welcome.
Some virgins.
Welcome.
Blessed night, everybody. It's feeling kind of weird. I mean, we start off recording it, but we do the live thing so long. It's real weird now, you know. Sometimes you have to go back to your roots.
Yeah, man.
Being
Right?
free,
I said people, I don't believe in coincidence at all. You will get, especially the more technology we have. That's why it's changed it up all nights. You know, I was so looking forward to it. I hear like it have real things I doing from with my business, and I do events and my friends and them pass through. Even to doing this, it'd be real nice to have my friends and them. I mean, Lal is my friend from a long time. Right? So brothers, welcome.
Yeah, man.
Just tell the people who it is and what they represent.
Yeah. So like it start.
Well, is your second time? Or third time?
Yeah,
Right.
second.
Jamil Young. We can start, one time with what we here to talk about, Managing Director of Freetown Sports Group. Yeah, and we could, you could do the introduction and then we could come back to.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for inviting us here. Like the Black family, it's a pleasure being here. I mean, well, actually, been trying to get man for a while,
I really believe in what you're doing.
Yeah, and I appreciate that belief you have in what we're doing. But I always tell myself, I ain't believe, I ain't think I'm doing nothing yet, I ain't think I deserve to be, but thanks again for having us here. As I say, Jason Pan was his name, but known as Lal. And I here representing the Bring Back Belmont movement. Bring Back Belmont is an organization formed in 2018 using culture, recreational, social activities to help bring the community together now,
Back together.
But back together,
Yeah.
back together, correct, back together, so, but here now, as I say, under the umbrella of the Freetown Sports Group, to let the people know, what we're about and what we've been doing, and we plan to, we heading to go. Yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah. So before we go into it, I just want to take a piggyback off how Lal now said it just now say, and give you all your flowers as well. You always give everybody flowers.
Yeah, man.
We want to give you all some.
All right.
Because having these kind of platforms, no matter how big, no matter how small, it is meaningful.
Yeah.
And there's a space and a place for people like us, to come express, to inform.
Yeah.
So again, we just have the problems, the issues, the hiccups, but at the end of the day, that is only a reminder that is needed.
Yeah.
So again, I'd just like to say that. So Freetown Sports Group was initiated in 2002, right, as a response, to the lack of opportunities that really exist for young aspiring sports people. That's how it started. It kind of grew into something else today, but at the time when we started, it came out of me personally at that time But before we got into Freetown Sports Group, you know, I was, you know, I'm a regular working folk. You know, I used to work at City Hall.
Right.
And then after that I was a financial advisor in Maritime.
What?
Close to home though, for like a few months.
Close to home, but
You know?
right.
And yeah, I was about 26 years old at the time. 26,
Right.
27 years old at the time.
Right.
You know, but yet still, you know, I felt like something was missing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're doing well financially, you know.
Right.
So you feel like everything, you know, set and, you know, good, but, you know, something was still feel like it was missing, you know. And 6 months down the road, I ended up resigning the job. You know, I didn't know at that point what I wanted to do.
Right.
You know, but I know what I did not want to do. So I take it from there, and I believe a year down the road, or a few months down the road, Jason and I actually, you know, we were in constant conversation about, you know, about the community, where it is going on, what we could do to bring it back, what we could back together, as you rightfully say. You know, through those conversations, I ended up noticing a football academy in the Savannah. We actually had plans to open an academy.
Right.
You know, and then he mentioned, hey, you know, it has somebody out there already doing, you know, football and whatnot. I knew the individual from before because we used to play football at team together, sweat and team together. He's an elder, big up Marlon one time. Right. So I carried my daughter, you know, I joined her into the academy, and, you know, from there, I played football growing up my whole life. So from day one, when I get into the environment, one time I feel like I was home. Immediately, I feel like, hey, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
This is what I'm missing.
Right.
You know, as I go along, I start to fall in love with it. I start to realize, most important, the impact, you know, it having on the youths, and, you know, it don't matter what we say, the holding on to every word, the listening, the showing up for training. So, you know, start to recognize all these things. So we start, you know, to really realize just how impactful it really was.
Right.
You know, I say from there, you know, everything started to kind of escalate. Jason had his NPO from before, Bring Back Belmont, as he just mentioned. We were working with the academy at the time, you know, and the relationship just started to build between myself, between Jason, between Marlon, you know, my wife as well, Janine, she's involved in plenty youth work as well, education. And well, she recently also started her NPO, Divine Ma'at, the name of the NGO. And it is rooted in education, in terms of not the traditional, you know, way of education. Is more interactive, more holistic. So she does things like spelling bees, debates, yoga and mindfulness for children, and a host of other things. So as we go along and as we continue interacting, we realize what, you know, we all doing the same thing. We all helping children, we all helping the community. Why don't we just bring everything together under one umbrella? So out of those conversations, Freetown Sports Group was born.
Right.
And where we took the three organizations and we bring it under one umbrella, and we use that to impact the community, to use these organizations as tools basically to attract the youths first, then have them in the space where we could reach them, empower them, motivate them, for them to achieve opportunity and eventual success.
Right.
So that is the synopsis of Freetown Sports Group and how it really came about.
What is the youngest age group you take in terms of the football?
The youngest age group is 6 years old, U6.
Right.
Right now, our youngest footballer is 4 years old.
What?
In the academy, active.
Yeah.
The training is there. My son.
Yeah. All right.
And at 4 years old, just hearing that young man speak about football and just not football, just everything. But when we talk about the football now, you could see from that age he know what he want to do. And we as the parents, we take that very seriously. We don't say no, you don't know what you want to do, because it have so many other things to choose to do.
But you choose
yet
this.
still, you only talk about this.
Yeah.
So we get him involved, and he's fully involved. So we have from U6 all the way up to U15 with aims to go up to U17 and U20 and U23 and then a senior men's and women's team eventually.
Nice.
Yeah.
How they bring back Belmont, there's work with the Freetown, and I want to say this quickly. I love the name that they choose, that bring back Belmont, because so much of things could go under that. It's not sounding limited now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? That, cause like how the big chicken company changed the name, so they don't say chicken at the end of the name anymore, they say 3 letters. Because of that now, because it's other things too. So I like that, bring back Belmont so that it's not limited to only doing music or this or that now, but how bring back Belmont does work with Freetown.
Yeah, well, I'll just when you mention the name, I just want to give you a slight issue how that name came about. Some friends of mine, because all of us, we are members of the Belmont Community Council. So they reached out to me because they wanted to do something in the community center, something like a after work line, and they wanted me to get involved with them on that project. I said, yeah, sure, no problem, So we came together and we I think you would have been a part of one of them. Yeah, and it used to be on a Friday, Saturday, and it was going good. I remember, a lady was there one night, and she was enjoying the environment. She said, "Yeah, boy, this is what we need in Belmont. We need more of this to bring back Belmont." And that was the day. Just like a light bulb just went on one time, At the point in time, I didn't run with the name just yet, But for certain circumstances, I couldn't continue working alongside them with the project now, because I went back to school on a course and that kind of thing. But after that experience and that's that little statement that was said there, I said, you know what? And we need to do more like this. We need to get involved in doing more projects to help bring the community. Because at that point in time, things was at all-time low. Nothing wasn't going on. You know what I mean? And that's how Belmont was more the name. That's what the name came about, and that's how it was formed. Fast forward to now, and working with the academy, as Jimmy said before, we would have we even before we had the conversation to meet with Marlon. I don't know if you remember, we had spoken, I think it could be about a couple of years before that. Right?
Yeah, but
and about the same thing of having our own football academy. And I remember you had given me some cones that you had some cones and some other stuff, And at that point in time, the idea was to do it through the Belmont Community Council at that point in time, because I think I was the youth officer at the council at that time, and that was one of the visions I always had to use the village council to form an academy.
Right.
For other reasons that didn't work out at that point in time, but the vision and the idea was still always there.
Right.
Because I grew up more or less living in the savannah playing football, so football was a major part of my life. As I always say, that two men I think if we wish to know, one of them deceased. Albert and Danny. I think they were the football coaches for St. Francis Nationals back in the days. And they played a serious role in curbing me to be the man that I am today. You know, being under their coaching, you know, at that point in time. So I know football was, to me, was always more, it's more than just playing a sport or kicking a ball. It's much more than that. You know, it happens when you're spending that time in that savannah training, and you know, there's a lot of different things happen. You make, you know, camaraderie, you make friends, you know, in terms of you learn to be able to strengthen your body, you know, fitness, you know, all these different, a lot of different things happen. You know, it prepares you for that. I always remember before game day, I used to be nervous. I never used to sleep good before a tour, you know. So you prepare for things like that, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. So it always played a significant role in my life now, football at it. So when we made the connection, Marlon, and we started work with the academy, I, you know, at that point in time, I mean, with my job, I could never commit fully to like being part of the training sessions and that kind of thing. So I would always work behind the scenes, helping, getting stuff donated, you know, making a connection with Coach Davidson abroad, you know.
Before you go any further, it come in my mind now that I have one idea with Sunday, you have one idea with Sunday.
Yeah, I would have made contact with him and start against, you know, but he was always behind me too, because when I first had the idea, he was the first person I went to.
Right.
So he was always instrumental in you know. I remember one time he asked me, I think I got to this, he said, well, Al, you know, you're always busy. How you plan to, as we know, said working at academy, how you plan to keep with this now, right? You know, because, you know, this thing relies a certain level of commitment, you know. So he said, so what's your plan? I said, yeah, I have a plan, you know. I said, plan is to circle myself with people who like-minded and who want the same vision. That's exactly what I did. Now, I know I couldn't commit full time. Right. And that's where, you know, as I said, you know, Jimmy on the same head, you know, Marlon already started getting the ball rolling. So, you know, we come together and you know, get things done. So my role has always been more kind of behind the scenes, working with, you know, donations, doing fundraisers, putting together tournaments, you know, helping put together tournaments. You know, that has been my bring back Belmont role, basically, with the academy.
I will say this, right? As somebody that see some of the things that they're doing. Because I remember I come down in 2023. When I came down in the tournament, supply for the top.
Yeah, that was 23. Yeah,
right. It was well organized and it was well supported.
Yeah.
And Kieran could say this. I think you and I would have had this conversation once or twice. I know me and Bambi definitely had this conversation. And I told Kieran that now that I'm back in Barata full time, I want to get involved now. But I don't think it has no better tool, for lack of a better word, for me to work with youths. Because from my experience going to school and right after school, you couldn't really get you to me putting me to sit down to talk to me like this.
Sure.
Just today I recounted a story how a church trapped me. Before I move away from that, you know, you man sit down talking to me in a car, inviting me to church, in a taxi, and then telling me, like, come in a short pants and thing and go after with the sweat. And of all things in basketball. I love small ball, but basketball is my love now. I went for a few months. Right? So even at that age, I was about 20. Right. Even at that age, it's possible still to reach them now. So I was a real big fan of that, and then actually come. And that wasn't the only tournament that come. I come one or two other things. Is the Easter Cup or that too? Easter?
Yeah, Easter Cup.
Easter Cup and something else come, right? With that happening, well, I didn't know what they had this year.
No.
Right. What is the plans going forward with things like that?
Well, we actually, I just want to talk a little bit about the new project. You know, So that's still there. We just due to lack of funding, because from when you would have, party, and so it has grown. The demand and the for the event, it would have grown a little bit, because we started off. The first Easter Cup was a small goal rivalry amongst it's a bragging rights thing, and I don't know if he was there for the first one. I think he was probably there for the little after.
Yeah, I come down anyone.
Yeah, right. So the first one, but from that to what it has for the last time we did it has significantly grown. Yeah, and we can't even go back because the expectation from the public, has grown too.
Right.
So we couldn't go back to that small goal rivalry, because people are, they're accustomed to seeing what we've been doing now. So the demand for funding and thing now, has grown significantly. And it kind of, everything we had done at that time was, everybody was, contributing. Even some friends abroad and all would have donated towards, those projects and those initiatives.
Right.
Yeah, but it started to become a kind of strain, right, for some of us, So hence the reason why
they demanded it.
Yeah, and trust me, it is very. But even though the demand, it have a certain level of satisfaction.
Of course.
With it too,
Of course.
So yes, we didn't do it this year, but it's not. We definitely plan to get back on that. And plus, we work on another project right now too. That kind of taking the attention to, So it's a lot that going on, in a positive way. So right now, a vision of mine, a passion I have developed over the years too, was for rhythm and and drumming, and I always, before that, I reached a point where I always used to be going out to enjoy certain. I had to be going out of my community.
Yeah.
To be able to enjoy certain things. And I started to reach a point where I was like, why I have to come out of my community to experience this way? Why my community can't have this? And I keep looking over my shoulder to see who will and do it, to me to jump on board, and like I said, I get whiplash, keep looking back to see. I say, what, boy, like I had to start doing it, So I say, boy, how come my community don't have a rhythm section? But I say, Lavender had their own rhythm section, Separia, Point 14. Right, I'm to Belmont, boy, So I said, what, I started reaching out to certain register who was involved in that thing, and said, maybe it was like, yeah, no problem, when you're ready. I said, I already know. But, so I said, look, what? I decided to make the move. I decided buy up little instruments and thing, and get the ball rolling, and reached out to. We was looking for a place of practice, because that was a challenge too, getting somewhere to practice. The Belmont Community Center would have given us the opportunity, but I also didn't involve youth. And the day and the time it was given us, it wasn't so conducive for the youth center, so we kept looking, and then we came along Casablanca Panyard, which is one of the oldest panyards in the pan bands orchestras in the country presently. I think they are All Stars right now, I think, and Tokyo is the three oldest bands right now. So we end up going to Casablanca. So right now we have formed the Bring Back Belmont Rhythm Academy,
right?
Which is the idea initially was supposed to be a rhythm section, but I started getting so much interest from youths and less interest from the adults. So I take the direction of our academy, than just a rhythm section. So right now we're teaching them to play trap set, hand percussion. I want to even expand it more, to do like drumology as well, and even a little tassa, anything along the percussion line that we could put our hands on, and we want to do. And that is the latest project of Bring Back Belmont right now.
When I talked to Baba, he told me, he take running, man.
Yeah.
Well, they plan to, so the children, they know, he plans to carry them and to actually see it in motion.
Well, we had, right now, there are approximately 16 children, ranging from age 4 to about age 15. Is the oldest.
Right.
And only about two of them I think would have had prior experiences. 2 or 3 of them had prior experience, you know, and so majority of them now learning. You know, but yes, we have plans to take them out to get them exposure and things.
No, I talk more for them to see it now, like to go and see.
Oh well, yeah.
Well, it's like how you link with Baba.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely.
You carry them.
Well, yeah. I would have a couple things planned, a couple of features and things. So right now, there's a guy who I built a friendship with, you know, and he's a drummer, and we're trying to arrange for them to get a field trip to UTT. They have a percussion room, so we're trying to arrange to get a visit to go to see different type of percussion instruments there. We also made some connection with other rhythm sections. Superior, the secretary for Superior rhythm section, when I reached out to him, we would have had conversation before,
right?
But when he saw the social media page, he was blown away. You know, he called me one time. I was like, boy, you know, you do it. He's like, boy, you do whatever everybody else has feel to do, man. Thing. And he actually wants to meet with me. I'm supposed to actually see him tomorrow to see how we could help them form the same type of academy down in their community.
Right.
You know.
That's what we need.
Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of networking and trying to make connections with different people in and around the fraternity to give them the exposure and that kind of thing.
You say percussions, the Jaja only legacy project, Modupe and them.
Yeah,
but to carry them.
Me and Modupe, I actually spoke to Modupe maybe a couple of weeks or a month ago, and about visiting the site up there as well. Me and Modupe has been in constant conversation.
That's good.
Sharing different ideas and that.
So I'm an exposing to what you want to do.
But there's a lot of people been showing, paying respect to what we're doing and showing interest in trying to see how they can assist, So the project, as I say, now started, but it's growing pretty fast, But the thing is, now I'm hoping that we can get some more resources on board as soon as possible, because pretty soon, I think we're going to get an influx of children coming in there. And I just want to be able to be prepared to handle what coming, I don't foresee we're going to get a huge influx coming in soon. So I just trying to put things in place. So that we have enough
What is the
resources.
response from parents within the community?
Well, that is what actually shocked me though, because initially I probably maybe was a bit naive, I don't know what to think. I didn't think that much parents would have want their children. So it surprised me when parents started reaching out to me and grandparents that they want their grandchildren, they want their children to be a part of that. So it was a kind of shocker for me, because I didn't think rhythm was that popular or that, people had much interest.
Yeah.
But the response has been pretty good, I mean, it didn't balance a bit. Some negative, some positive, But it surprised me though. It was
no concerns.
No concerns really, no concerns. I think right now, from watching how things go in the community, I think people just want a safe space and something positive for the children to be a part of,
Right.
And honestly, in my view, I think people underestimating this whole rhythm and percussion thing. I think it's growing, but people who had the foresight, they've seen it too, so they want the children, to be a part. And we have a nice group, my daughter, she's a major part. She actually is giving me a lot of encouragement to keep on doing what I'm doing. I remember in the beginning, she didn't want to be a part. And one day, she had nobody to stay home with.
Right.
So I said, listen, you had to come now. You had to come today. They go, oh, Daddy, you must stay home now. I said, no, you're coming. After she went that day, she never missed her practice.
Oh.
You understand? So that shows the kind of impact.
Yeah.
And I said, if that could motivate she, well, then we do
Of
something
course,
good.
other people do good.
Yeah.
And I want to say this because both of them born and grow and live in Belmont all their whole life, right? As somebody who come from a different community, and I come from a community where I had community vibes. I had no problem with that at all. On top of that, I grew up next to a basketball court, literally opposite the basketball court. Right, just a few steps. You come there, just a few steps from. So I grew up in community. I grew up in being all over the community and thing. But I also had a real nice time in Belmont for some years, where we'd have been coming by you by others or us. And it's so shameful. That's why I always telling you, when I hear you talk something like, I look forward to that because am I as an outsider, you might think in Belmont. And me and you had a conversation and you don't know how that, when I listen to you talk, it's like, if more people in the community feel that way. I go in by Brent. He not home. I not coming back down the road.
Walking over the hill.
I going over the hill.
Yeah, through Gonzales.
Come down Bella Road.
Yeah.
Come through and go by the terrace.
Unfortunately, you go over Car Street.
Come down by you.
Coverage planners come down by me.
You can't pay me to walk in these communities, silly.
Yeah.
So that's the question I have, right?
Right.
Everybody know. It's public knowledge. I from Lamberton. It has certain things it's public knowledge now. We know the issues that we're struggling with in Belmont. It's the same thing we're struggling with in Lamberton, right? What is the impact that is creating in the space now? Because obviously the heads of them go here and going on ting. So is it a situation where all you could actually reach them fellas and say, hey fellas, yo, turn on them around, let me try and take it down? Like the scene from Barbershop now where they bring the two community leaders together and say, hey fellas, you know, we want a little ceasefire, ting. Or is it that they just, I don't want to say that they don't care, but is it that the impact is happening so that they could see it and say to themselves, boy, maybe we really need to look after the community versus be warring with over so. Tell me.
Yeah, I could. Well, I don't think we there as yet.
Alright.
For sure.
I agree.
You know, because plenty of that, you know, what going on is survival. Right? That is the whole source of it.
Okay.
Right? So, as much as a man might see things good, because they are where it's happening.
Right.
You know, these people are our friends. We grow up
Together.
as friends with these people, you know.
Right.
Outside or society might label them a criminal or, you know, all these things, but you have plenty unlabeled criminals as well. So
Right.
I don't really like that word because I don't really see these people as that.
Right.
You know, it's just certain
Circumstances.
choices based off of certain circumstances which were created by something else, as we know.
Right.
So yes, it is making a huge impact, just not in that way.
Okay.
How it making the impact though is that where a child might have go home and be on interviews, they like to use those things on the block and all that thing.
Right.
Then you're home in your community.
Yeah.
You could be outside just being idle for 2-3 hours, no you're in football. Right? Or no you're in, you know,
Very
it's an
hard.
academy, you practice.
Right.
So that's really where the impact making, because it is not what is the word I want to use? People change, but as we know, as we get older, it is harder to change.
Yeah.
So where we want to make impact and where we are making impact is on the younger minds.
Right.
So that
keep
where our
them out of
focus and
that, yeah.
attention is, so that we're not creating more. Right? So to answer your question, I would say that we're not really there as yet from that side of things. I don't think they have the liberty or the, you know, to just say, you know what, let me just stop this.
Yeah.
Because that the other party who may not be thinking like that from the outside,
True.
who might still be.
True.
So, with regards to that point of things, no, but the impact is real. And who we wanted to impact it impacting. I would tell you a joke. Them same ones that are called gangsters, that are called criminals. They'll just be under the academy page. Hey, I love this. So the impact is still there.
Yeah.
You know?
So invisible.
So it they, you know, and they seeing it and they loving it, you know. Again, we would have conversation again. These are still human beings that
course,
we just
of course.
shun them out of
course.
you know. And they would say, yeah, we really like it, you know. Anything all you need, any water, any this, any that, we would be here for you.
That is
for
what we're talking about. That is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, looking in as a spectator, because I follow any 2 pages, and when I see pre-election and thing, I see, you know, a lot of movement taking place. I didn't realize so big the club get. You understand? Because my son, I looking for something for he to do just now. But he's 2005, he started in primary school, right? Son, this man is diving on the concrete, brother. He want to be a goalkeeper. The man is diving on the concrete. And I say, nah, you can't do that, you will damage yourself. You don't care.
So I like the child.
Yeah, and he brother playing football and the man. I say, boy, what is this, boy? But you see that in the already now. But he also playing basketball. So when my son go by Coach King and them, he with them with royalty, you understand? So I have no problem. Right. It's something that I looking at now. With about a little youth man start one here called my shoes.
Oh, in the Savannah.
In the Savannah here. Right? So I'm looking at them because of course I walking distance, more convenient. You know what I mean? But we need that in the communities because at the end of the day, as I say just now, we looking in from outside. Barataria have so much public spaces that them things supposed to be the norm. Right? And Coach King and them get the space down on the back here. We write corporation to get it, and then when they come here, it's bacchanal. Men telling them, yeah, but we using the court and thing. But if you say our academy, brother, come to use the court, it's not a play thing. Them fellas and them men come to sweat.
But I did think about it. And that's what we just say, we have hoods, we have neighborhoods, but we have communities because the way protocol is, we sweat. So I know anything I have to do on any of them courts and them, I before I do anything, I have to go and talk to these sweaters. I'll go and talk to these sweaters. Let them know here we have a little thing with our children. You know, sweaters usually start about 4 or 5 o'clock, but we here until 5. Right? We here with them from 3 to 5, or from 3:30 to 5, 2 days a week. Most people are reasonable, you know.
Communication.
But we had to live, but that's how we live, that's how we're supposed to live as a community. When I come to say, when they go to them and let them know, to come and say, well, somebody else want to use the pan and to tell them all the time and thing. Them have to know or they practice until so time. Them can't come to start to set up and do thing and thing one. No.
But trust me, we had a struggle in the beginning, you know. I mean, I wasn't really, I didn't take it on too seriously because remember when we started as something new in the community too, we didn't really had it before. And I think that's one reason why people wasn't taking it serious. Maybe they figure out, you know, what I'm going to try to do with it.
We say all of that will last.
You know.
Typical like we. You know, we know it's already plenty people watching and saying, why them still doing that, by now they'll have mash up. You know what I mean? But it's something that in here, you have to stay true. You have to stick with it. Keep it here, keep all the negative thoughts out. Because now that we into this, well, I into the alumni thing now, is that, you understand, I know it have plenty people on the outskirts. I don't want to know, say they're praying for it to fail, but you're not getting the support from them because at the end of the day, you see what we do, we posting up a little video, we posting up little pictures, and nobody would say about, hey, well, check we falling in that little hand, ting. And it's frustrating. You understand?
But you know what, Karen, boy? I reach a point now, I was talking to somebody a few days ago, and he was asking me, how much children you have and that? I said, I have 2 children. He said, well, born and girl or girl, boy. I said, I have a girl, and I haven't married in my academy. So, to me, I say nothing. But I say that to say that it becomes so natural to
you.
me now, you understand?
Like a child.
Yeah, you know, you understand?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it give effect, sometimes it make you happy, you know?
Yeah, but that's good.
Yeah, understand? But it feel now, it's like natural, you know?
Right.
It's like, I don't have to, you have to see what your children, so I have to see all that.
Yeah.
At times, you know, I recently, I mean, you would have known my situation health-wise, and I still, maybe only once I had also missed a practice because it was real bad, and coach had also fully for me. You know?
Right.
You're talented for it, but yeah, it's a shame that how committed I am to it is I do it, you know, and you know, looking at what the industry is now talking about, I mean, who would have been a part of that? If it didn't making money, then fellas they ain't coming. You know, you tell them, you know, I was saying, you know, to come forward and what gigs, first time out how much gigs they have. Because their main interest is just about money, you know.
So,
But real unfortunate.
I hearing that, and it take me back to my own self, man. Like, why I just do that? See that part of it, a lot of my friends didn't understand in the beginning when I say, I want to make money off of what I do, but at the same time, it's bigger than making money. And this is one advice I just want to give to people now starting off with something. And nothing you could do. You can get a man the straightest mark. There's nothing you could do for the person who just don't have no good vibes about them.
Yeah. That's a fact.
To say either one get a compliment, because as men we really play down the importance of a compliment, because we never really get it, and we learn wrongfully that you need that. Yes, we need that shit.
Yeah.
Right? And two, people just wouldn't just because it's you. You understand? Anytime you could do what you're doing and ignore the because I don't know. Like at that time I would want to not see that negative. I'm like, what is that on that jersey? That ugly mask. I would have not want to see that. I love seeing that now. Because that also means that you see it too. So the city they hear about you, them section and they ask about money.
Yeah.
You know when they hear about it again, the whole people are right.
Yeah.
And we have to be willing to take all the stupidness that we can say, and the shooing and the smoking and the no support, and work with it. There's something that we have them.
Oh, for sure.
But you have to work with it because, as you say, you have a vision.
Yeah.
And one of the things that helped me is understanding that that is your vision, you know.
Yeah.
Who else seen through your eyes?
Correct.
That is it.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah, so you might just see a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And next month, you know, oh, yeah, idea. And put it on and feel like you're doing it, but that's not for you.
And I see it with a video you posted recently with regards to Sizzler. I see when Sizzler take out a black jersey and freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah, he asked about it.
Yes, in that video. So, you know, it really everybody's gonna try.
Facts.
You know, so it really whoever aligned. Now I took alignment and I'll go into something with regards to Freetown Sports Group. And what we lack other people amongst each other is trust. In the two senses. One, I don't trust that your organization will not last.
Yeah.
Because we have seen this before. Right? And I know you now saying they had to be able to take that because of what has come before us.
Yeah.
You know? So that is one big thing, and that's why when we get into the academy, me personally, me and Marlon would have regular conversation because at that point it's just me and him really. I say, Coach Marlon, this thing is time. This thing is at least 10 years. Minimum,
yeah.
You know, and just going back to what you were saying just now, Lal, with regards to, you know, people want to see that money right away. That does feed back into the lack of trust because me personally, I don't do nothing for money. I don't do what I do it for money.
Yeah. Same.
You know, because when you're thinking about the money, it does skip steps.
Yes.
Make bad decisions.
Yes.
Do something now that might
impact you down the road. Yeah.
So that is me personally, for me, that is the biggest downfall now. But again, that has been created by something else, you know, that hustler mindset that I needed now, that, you know. So I'm just, again, kind of piggybacking off all the points in terms of what we really working to do at Freetown Sports Group is to change the culture. Because I personally feel like we just hold on to a real negative culture and call it we culture. So things like showing up late, it's a cool scene.
Brother, me and telling.
That is we culture. You know?
God.
If that is your culture, and I trying to prepare you for international scholarship, you're not going away. So before we could achieve any kind of success, we have to do away with the current culture. You know?
Yeah.
Jamil.
And we see that, not to cut here, we see that when they had the whole bullying thing with the former Prime Minister and the former schoolmate, with people, certain people who went to the school saying, yeah, but that's normal.
Yeah.
That's the culture.
Yeah, exactly.
How can that be a culture?
Exactly.
How can inefficiency be our culture? How can untimeliness be our culture? And then we leaving here and going out there with the bus ain't waiting on you. That bus moving, you have to be running behind that bus anytime you miss that bus, you know. But that train, when that train go on, it ain't no well. Nah, you go take on. Nah, brother, when you miss that train, that you for the next 15 minutes. And you will stand up there and wait, and then you're 15 minutes late for work. And then when you reach the workplace, it's a whole chain reaction of madness.
Exactly.
You understand? So your whole day mess up. I just see plenty in my business. People just, I remember a man watched me when I was on that side. One of my friends take care of it and I have no way this going on work. How your friend telling you that, boy? And I had to sit down and chest strap that on my chair and say, what do you mean? He said, well, Trinidadians can't keep time. So how you going and do this? I say, well, we will see. Here I am 13 years later. Axie. Man, does you see your van park up there?
Yeah.
You just see men. You can't barely stop. Men don't not open.
You have to believe that.
To come in, you know.
I tell them, I say, use the only baba, you know, this gangster man. Men, this gangster, the baba. I go reach my baba.
Point many
At the time, I know, hey, you can't trim me for me, you know. You understand? You trimming me since you going white there. You can't trim me. But when I went literally jumping. I ain't late. You understand? But again, that's why you build. The reason why that's important, right? Yeah, why that's important. Talk about on something you just say. And Lal will know this from conversations with something we one of our groups. Too much of we know with the top knowledge that we have this mind on we own. This mind, and when I say mind, I mean culture, tradition, the things we accept, things we do accept, things we feel we can't change. None of it is as a result that we just sit down there and decide, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. All of it was programmed. But you know why we don't like the terminology of the programming? Because that brings us to the reality of how little control we have of our things around us. Right?
Ourselves.
The violence that permeating in these communities, where the majority of people in the communities, us, didn't start because we just wake up and they decide I don't like you. No. And it's in continuing because of that, it's continuing because it is being allowed to continue. And in some cases, it is being perpetuated, and in some cases, it's being funded. Because you said earlier, survival. You understand? When you have people influencing children the same way all the influencing children, but the reverse side of that is that they can hand them something that they look at as tangible. And we have leadership in the country that are not doing nothing to combat that.
Yeah.
Bread's all supposed to with what they're doing here. And especially the length of time they're doing so we can see a lane on a gimmick thing. All they're supposed to be able to go to with government. I know there are people who don't like it to say government. Or they're not going to ask us something. Or they're going for things for the community. Where we are? Well, the football competition we decided we wanted to do it middle of August, you know, go home training and all that. We need goalpost nets, water thing, trophy. Even one thing with no cash. Just ensure that the competition that the community has gotten accustomed to, that it is bigger and better.
And as I mentioned, I just want to say that too. We even with the academy, now the academy has a fee attached, yes, but there are a lot of people who can't afford to pay the fee.
What is that?
We still allow them to come to the academy.
Have to.
You know?
Yeah.
Have to.
See, no, the Rodham Academy, right? The Rodham Academy is free. And I try my best to keep it that way, you know. Try my best to keep it that way.
And
really finished.
this is what I say, based on that kind of thing. I had to give all the other papers because you have to have a certain mindset. I know. Because you see, you'd bridge him, tell him that. Later people watch me, and either they tell me, I can't wear them thing, or by their actions.
Yeah.
Right? So we say no on this side, knowing where it takes the mindset now. So I will never stop giving all the papers for doing that. Out of pocket, out of luck every time.
Yeah.
Right now, I've been real honest, right? I give up 2 positions in things, in groups and organization, and I'm battling with myself right now to go out because I don't feel I have the energy, especially when it involves working with people.
Yeah.
The alumni is one thing, because most of them don't know people and thing, but they see them going on. Because I really want to get involved with the community. You understand? I have plenty of ideas. And I'm not afraid to share my ideas because it's not money making ideas. Right? But the idea of the time, being a single parent raising a child that is all the time and energy too now, right? But I don't think I could break it for much longer. So I know the time and energy this take now, so I have to take all the respect for being able to, being willing to do it.
We'll go back to what Lalo was saying just now with regards to the fee with regards to the academy. One of the first conversations I had with Coach Marlon, I said, Coach Marlon, you know what it is you have to do and what it is you have to work towards? No fees in the academy. Coach Marlon watched me like I'm mad. Because you know when you're doing these kind of things, most times you're using from that to buy groceries to what is real. So I say, that we have to work towards because the best players can't play and can't pay. The best players cannot pay. So if we really talking about growing this thing into a top class academy and whatnot, we have to find ways to make this as free as possible. You know? And that in itself graduated into exactly what it is what I was now saying. And there's the mindset we have to develop in terms of that ministry's mind. Once I could show you my documentation that you asking for, you have to give me what I want.
I see.
So, what we just get carried away in this country is red and yellow. So when this party gone, you know, I feel like I doom. But at the end of the day,
you voting a party, right? You're voting a government.
I am working with the ministry, not the minister, not the whole.
Not the individual, the position.
The ministry and the position and these kind of things. So I would say that there are resources there for us. However, a big part of it is who we know.
Link.
And we know that we we culture here again, going back to culture, you know. But you know, with regards to Freetown Sports Group, and I want, you know, to just spend a little bit more time, you know, explaining what it is really about at the arcs at the start and what we want to go to. And where we are right now is, I was saying earlier, changing the culture. That's the first step. That's the first exact step before we could talk about creating, you know, our next York, or our next Marshall Montano, or our next whoever it may be, is first re-educating the children. Because, as you know, say the programming they're coming up into is what destroying them. You know, so in our programs, especially with regards to the academy, because we have right now 114 of them. We will get between.
You see how easy is that?
Like, you know, like, yeah,
114, you say, no?
And we have to close off registration. We
can't take no more.
We can't accept no more because we have 5 coaches, 114 children. That is a safeguarding issue.
Yeah.
If anybody come in this and I'm saying this like they could shut us down.
Yeah.
But what we do?
Where get any coaches from?
We have to maintain what we do, right?
So what the parents are calling on the parents? Parents ain't coming out?
Again, going back to changing the culture, because what we will have, yes, we have a few core serious hands-on parents who day anytime we call. But if we have 114 of them, we would see about 20 parents mainly. If so, yes, the help is there, but not in the capacity that we need it as often and as we need it. You know, but that's all well and good. That it's not really an issue because, you know, we mantra is to get it done. You know, and the goal is to create a product that internationally, you know, get recognized and is of that quality. And I'll go back to what you are now talking about in terms of government and this and that. Everybody else talk about, and there's a point I'm making real often lately, everybody else talk about diversifying the economy. Everybody else talk about that, how we can diversify the economy. Now, if we do diversify the economy, who stands to benefit the most?
People.
We. Because outside of the oil and gas, who they say is the country biggest resource, and you gotta keep playing that and that, only that, we gotta stay with that. Alright, fine, but we have Saudi Arabia, who is also oil, and they are now investing in football. Right? So from my 2 eyes, from what I see, is that they would not diversify because of who it would impact positively.
Yes, exactly.
So we have asked the question over the years, how people not investing in sports, and we could see that how people not
Sports and culture.
Sports and culture.
Yeah.
So why people not really investing in these things if there is the change? If everybody know that there is the change, because you and I will benefit. So I'm going back to say now, what we have to recognize as private organizations, while it's very hard, it is still our responsibility to grow our organization to the point where it starts to attract funding.
Yeah.
I don't have to ask you again.
Yeah.
You want to be a part of, you have a bandwagon culture.
Of course.
As Keyshawn Walker try javelin and win all this, everybody know Keyshawn Walker.
Yeah.
Before that,
nobody
all kind of thing, nobody taking them on.
So you have to, one, show that you are good enough for massa. Then your fellow slave members go say, yeah, you're really good.
Yeah.
And we have to recognize that again, everybody just talk about the problems don't done. Problems don't done. It's time for some solutions.
Yeah.
And The people who in the ground, who in the savannah, the coachman who in the ground, in the savannah, right? You will spend how much ever billions of dollars on national security. It's crime prevention, brother.
Yeah.
A coachman should be looked at in the same light as a prime minister.
Yeah.
Boy.
With the level of impact. Parents just call me to leave with the children.
Yeah.
Two parents also like talking about.
There's a fact. There's a fact.
So,
and if you remember the story, sorry,
No, go ahead.
Davidson gave us a time. I don't know if he was part of that conversation. He coaching, the academy, and this child's father, who's a judge, had to call him to be able to talk to his son because he use a man sentencing people and giving people advice in court, and then you can't talk to your coach man had to come and talk. That's a show the impact,
Yeah. It's a vicious cycle. A vicious circle.
A big part of this problem as well is us acknowledging everything we just talked about as a people. Before we acknowledge it, it had to be acknowledged by the wider community, because plenty of we have everything you say that we all seem to get stuck in the no. I'll tell you, a long time Karen could tell you, I tell them that, and a lot of people say that, like, the nonsense that you should pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Oh, show me. Stand up and do it now. It have no metaphorical value to that statement. Right?
Yeah.
And we apply that to ourselves in everything. But we're not changing the mindset and the culture and the actions and the attitudes. So we're not.
Same.
Yeah, the same. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Once I watch changes, since I come in Ubuntu.
Oh, yeah, big up. God save the creative, right? You know? Yeah.
And you, again, you say there is. First, we have to stop playing with some games and recognize that we African people, right? First and foremost.
No, it's actually anyway.
We culture is
No, Africa.
we culture is not that we say they pull yourself up by a bootstrap.
Yeah.
That is a Western
real Caucasian mindset.
So again, to if you really want to bring solutions, as we say, and I right back in comment, the culture is what had to change, and because we African way of life is not really encouraged. That is a reflection of what we see out in the society today, right? And now we have, I would say amongst all our groups, we could have about 300 children on our group. And I just try very hard not to, this you have to do and this is African. No, because again, it's planting a seed.
Yeah. Catch more flies with honey.
Because I don't want to stray too much up, from where to be talking about, because we could be here for a long time. But if we talk about solutions, we have to talk about that because the spiritual side of things is more important than the physical side of things. And what we see on the physical side of things is just a manifestation of the spiritual side of things.
Or the lack thereof.
Or the lack thereof. So I was so happy to hear in the last rhythm section, in the last rhythm academy practice, sorry. You do that. And rightfully so. I fully recall when people call my academy a football club, I get very upset. Because an academy prepares young footballers for football clubs. They are different.
Yes.
We have a club mentality, but we don't have an academy mentality, developmental mentality. We talk about it. When all the children after the prayer said Ashe. Right, so when my daughter prays, she say Ashe behind the prayer. And I just let her know, it's okay to be in circles where people saying the amen and these kind of things because, again, that's what they know, so that's what they do. You have to be strong enough within yourself to be able to be around but not of, right? So the last time she said it, I said, you know what? We here for education. You know, that's when I'm thinking I'm playing, we here for education. So I explained to the trend why she says Ashe. You know, and to hear that last practice, it was amazing because again, it was like in unison, everybody shit, like it's a norm, you know.
Yeah.
So
it happened before as well. Before when he wasn't there as well.
You know. So again, that's going back to everything through our non-profit Divine Ma'at. That education really important. And even the education of what you're doing right now, the education of the Christianity, the education of the African, the education of the Muslim, just the holistic education so that you will know and then you could make a decision in terms of what you have to do. And I will take a slide. A child should be 18 years old before that child makes a decision on a religion. Because we have children out there, 8, 9 years old, saying prayers that they're not really connecting with. Plenty of the time because we make certain, you just say like it's just being repeated.
Exactly.
You know? So again, to really get into fixing the problems in sports, in culture, in education, as I always tell all of our young players, this is not about football. Because if I had to make you into a top football player, before you could be that, you had to be a top person. Because it's who you are as a person will dictate who you are as a player. Because we go be in a game, we drawing 1-1, and it's a 2v1 situation because you selfish. As a person, you're not passing that ball. So, you know, it goes a lot deeper than what we're doing right now. You know?
You're touching on a apartheid day that will always be a very contentious issue within the community when we reach on it, right? There's no way, and we would have had this discussion personally when we was roommates and then in the wider group and thing. There's no way in nothing that we are attempting to do to rectify ourselves as African people, whether it be in the community, whatever media we're using. Once you're serious about it, there's absolutely no way to work on that without spirituality being involved. Right? And this is where a lot of people just drop off and think because the same value system, the value system that we live by today comes from Christianity. The majority of people we look at as leaders, their spiritual system, which is not spirituality, but the religious system that they follow, is Christianity. And look at the craziness of the world today. You know, talking about the woman too, and they doing things. I tell people, I say, they don't like to hear all the black talk. And because we don't like to hear all the black talk is why certain things is the way it is in the communities. You understand that? Where we went from living in community. I would tell people, but we have to study the resilience that we as black people, boy. For a second, as long as a second is in the universe, not the second we just check. We have to study the resilience of we, boy, that slavery was long ago. Slavery wasn't long ago. This man named Mutatu, who was my grandfather, who lived till I was 19 years old, was born in 1914. His father was born during slavery time. There's somebody I didn't know yet. You understand? I say to people, you living in places where none of the rules that was made was based on how you just think. I tell my daughter every day, she's here, our national anthem is a lie. Till I actually read it. But I'm just saying that to share explaining why not. You understand? Because you like, so daddy, how come them, they're saying, how come them doesn't pray like how we doesn't pray? I say, well, they believe in Jesus. You know that we don't do that. Thing. Yeah. But why we don't tell them? I kind of stopped on that. Right, but the incredibleness of we shining through today, all these examples of that, you know. Breads, this place that all they call it Freetown, why they change the name? When people tell them, man, we ain't proud that we named that, why we don't have, man, I was supposed to have a few years ago on Facebook. What kind of name is Orisha Lashe? I say a name you would never hear them call a dog. But I could meet a dog named Andre. You understand? The things in the places we hold on to. We can't send them Freetown because that is in the savannah, that is some them better some Belmont in it. But a man from a place that I respect will use the location next door there. Right next door, they trade, you know. Them ball coming over, you know, they trade them. And they will go by them because and they just want to tell them, I say part of the thinking that had to change is prestige. When they get rid of that boy. Because when they get rid of that now, it's a rare thing when they get rid of it. You know why plenty we hold on to them things because we want to say my daughter going a prestige school. I working in a prestige job. Nobody in saying, as you say, it's a change thing. I don't want to get rid of prestige schools. You know. What I want to do? I want all schools to be considered prestige. So that a child not to be living Sandy Grandy and come in to the school around the savannah that they call prestige. And the next thing I will get rid of, I don't want all one sex school. You understand? You live in Sandy Grandy, you know it takes and you always think to leave Sandy Grandy to reach around the savannah for 8 to 10. I was living a man coming right down here to work. And I leave at home, 5:15 is cutting it close. 5:30 is and I see children in the Maxian thing coming on.
Yeah.
And we call that progress. We boasting about them thing going on there, boy. People watch me funny when I tell them I'm fighting hard to build back my life in and around this area so that my daughter ain't have to go through that to go to school. I live that. You understand? We live in El Dorado and I work in Lavandel. And where we live in is not a big space where people just stop out. Where we stop was
a walk.
pain in the morning. You understand? Why now if we supposedly right thinking people, why we trying through that? Just by look. One of the biggest looks to show you how we mentality had to change. We ain't care of us always towards them the Jordan booties.
What's that?
The baby shoes.
Jordans for babies.
Okay.
Who you buying that for? Right for you.
Correct.
For people to see seriously? This child will never have appreciation for that.
Never.
They're not even old enough to say, well, cool, daddy, I had this white shoes and I had when I was 7 years old. And it was very nice and period that I can get back on that.
Never.
Like for you, what the price we paid for them thing, boy? So that's why you're correct in the mentality that had to change. And the apartheid, while I was always say Babylon don't sleep. So when we leave here, we're going to want to take a beer, eat something and go and sleep. The system that working on poisoning we minds and we children minds and we grandchildren to come minds, that don't rest. That don't rest. So I had to do whatever little part I could do. Right? Every day, we use African words. You're beautiful, you know. Oh gosh, daddy, I know. I said, I had to tell him. Son, like, don't let nobody bully you. But don't bully nobody. Manners. Everybody know me as the morning man. I see it get popular all over the place. I don't know nobody doing that before me. Just like King. I don't know nobody calling people King. before me. But now nearly everybody around me who I just interact with and talk with regularly.
That big thing.
Of
You
course.
understand?
That big thing right there.
Of course.
Because I stopped seeing you as
Yeah, no.
just, dog and horse, long time. As I started to do reading and thing, dog and horse, it might slip out every now and then.
Yeah, of course, of
Yeah.
course.
Because on this part, a lot less longer than I was on that part. You understand? And on top of that too, like the way I will view certain people, you calling you even by a name, what everybody else is calling you, for me wouldn't give off the endearment and the respect and love that I have for you. Exactly. You understand? So when I think and I call, if you go up and answer the phone, hello, you don't know is that I don't know who is that, or that is not somebody that I relate to now. Okay, because that is that kind of vibe, and that's what I try to tell to the younger ones. And yesterday I picked up my daughter from school, and two of she friends stand up outside with her parent, and one of the friends telling the next friend, I can't do that, he just real weird that thing, boy, it's starting to look nicer. I know big people today find this real over, you know.
Yeah.
Of course.
You understand? But because the scene, so my brothers, say I will always tell all them, I love all they doing, but any little part I can play in it, I'll do that at any time when they're hunting and I had the time. I did for sure. I just want to give her strength, you know, that positive ancestors known and unknown walk with all them. Guiding all them because we need that guidance. These days my father real big on that. He say he don't want no blessings, he don't want no this, he don't want that, he want guidance, because guidance can lead you to everything else. You understand? So strength, don't give it up. Tell any contact information or anything else in case anybody either want to donate or they might want to join the children or a contact in need.
Yes, well, we have actually quite a few Instagram pages. We could visit Freetown Sports Group on Instagram. You can also visit Bring Back
Belmont Academy on Instagram.
There's
as
also
well.
Bring Back Belmont is on Instagram. That's one.
Yeah.
Then the
Bring Back Belmont Rhythm Academy.
that's the next one, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
On Instagram. Yeah.
Yes, you can reach out to us at Freetown Sports Group at gmail.com, and you could also reach out to us at 472-0932.
Yeah. And,
Would you want to leave the people with anything while before you?
The end goal for us really is our school.
Sure.
Right, because as we say, if the goal is to change the culture, and we need our youths with us, you know, for a long period of time for that to happen. So we also recognize that, you know, again, we ain't seeing complaints from plenty parents the child will be doing well in school, you know, but you know, we could see on the field he is a brainiac, right? So again, having the school will allow us to do things like this in terms of if it's just 2 hours of schooling, you know, and then the rest of the day learning life skills.
I blasphemy to those educated solely by a regret mindset. 2 hours at school?
Yeah,
It's
you
crazy.
know. I mean, it's not unheard of.
Of course not.
It is not just you take out your phone and you go up and you see
You look outside
top,
of that.
the top performing academic country in the world, Finland.
Yeah. 4 days a week.
4 days a week, you know. So it's happening, and I want to leave with this: parents, because parents is the key. Right, the world is a much different place than when you were growing up. There are many other opportunities than just. I had 10 passes, 5 CXC, 5 keep. Right? I went to university upon university, and you know, I came back home to share with more people that is not the only way. So I would just listen to your children, hear what they want to do, and then support that 100%. Even if you don't agree with it, you don't like it. They're growing up in a whole different world. You know, so things you may not see and things you cannot see, we see and they see. You know, so that is what I want to leave.
Goodness.
You know, black to black with.
All right.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, after that, what I would like to say though is to commend you guys. You know, Richard Ashe, you know, has been a man, has been educating me for years now, you know, and sharing knowledge. Also has been a big supporter and contributor and donator to the Bring Back Belmont movement, you know. So I just want to, you know, give thanks for that, and also want to commend you, Karen, and the work you've been doing as well. And also a huge respect to what you've been doing with alumni as well, because I was there, you know, I was there, and I know the struggle where that is concerned, because I was there, you know. So, you know, big you up for taking on that challenge too.
Yeah,
And the work you're doing so far, man. Big respect to that, you know. And to the back-to-back program, you know, keep it going, you know, and continue doing the work what they're doing.
Yeah, man.
You know,
That's
respect, man.
That's that.
Yeah.
Why we get fight tonight? we don't back down from no fight.
Nah.
Just in case you didn't realize, we still going up tonight. We got 1 and 21 minutes. You understand? So it's going to go up.
If you ain't getting a fight, you know nothing good.
Come on.
Yeah, but a shout out. I feel like a shout out.
Of course, fix up now, man.
A shout out got you designs, you know.
Yeah.
You know, big supporter too as well, and you know, Davidson's.
Yeah, man.
You know,
Big up Coach Davidson. All the time.
Man.
I also want to shout out Aisha's cleaning and home and cleaning services. If I get the name right.
Right.
Big supporter of the Rhythm Academy as well.
This man will even talk about
Casablanca. I want to big up Casablanca too as well, and the executive. The executive at Casablanca too. You know, real big supporter we doing as well. Yeah, you know.
But since you want to do it, I will do it. Big up. What's the name of your business?
Remy and Young.
Remy and Young.
Creative Concept.
Creative Concepts.
I want to make it talk, you have too much work right now.
And we give it thanks to that. We give it thanks to that.
I tell them, when you're running your own business, easy thing.
That is the code.
Yeah, you don't want to be.
That's easy code. Boss at the seams. If you ain't bossing at the seams, it wouldn't grow.
Yeah. No, I agree, definitely. Yeah.
Alright, goodness.
Going well.
Fellas, thanks for coming through.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man.
Long overdue. At least for me, but long overdue.
Yeah. When I see the name, when he sent me the name tonight, he said, introduction in case we need it done. I say, I don't need no introduction.
And again, the fact that you said just now that to the parents, the world that we grew up in is not the world our children growing up in. It works the other way around. It always has to be a negative thing. Because the friends that I speaking to, we are friends since the 90s. The children are amazed at we friendships still.
Yeah.
That's a beacon for them. Because that will show them, because we live in a world where people is both higher and kind of old, but people both are no friends. Like, yo,
I don't know.
You know that when you tell someone like me that, you know that I remember I don't know the people who you don't consider your friends, you know. But I say to myself, if you say now, what I say about you? So nobody don't want to be your friend.
Something wrong.
Something wrong with you. And there's the world that plenty of children growing up in, and we don't need about it. So just be amazed
to see it.
Son, and I tell them that since the 90s I go in my Halloween. They were we see the 90s was 30 years ago. You understand? But I go in by you know, and he come in by me. Fellas, and then he's the first one driving a Mount Sweet.
Oh God.
And had the sense to the drive and if we're tired and come by me to sleep. Son, I use what he paid for food. He postpaid food. You understand? But that's how long, right? So that we children seeing that now. My daughter they see me and he vibes, he children they see
the same thing.
Me and he vibes now.
Also for the gaps too, in terms of, like, I was a young fella, I'm now 31 years old.
Not just by name.
And most of the folks I don't really interact with is older people.
Yeah, same.
So you know, I'm a brain and them kind of thing. But what I lack is experience.
Yeah.
So I just lean on
them.
these fellas, on Coach Madden, you know. They would share certain things with me that would make me avoid certain.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a time capsule. This one living in the future, this one living in the past. So he's been there,
Yeah.
and that way, you know, saying it to bridge those gaps is really important.
And that is why every now and again I start to go back to Sankofa, so I believe them with that. Sankofa is a Twi TWI from the Ashanti people in Ghana, right? And it simply means go back and fetch it. Right? The representation of it is the bird looking back and the egg falling out the moon. The bird looking back is looking at the past, but the egg is the future. You cannot make a step forward. So you know plenty we like to ball, we don't study the past. That is impossible. Right? Because how much miles you drive today impacts how much miles you can get out of the gas tomorrow. Today being the past tomorrow. Right? So you have to look back in order to go forward. We have to look back to see some of the mistakes that we made. And we all made mistakes. We parents made mistakes. We looking back, why you trying to do is not look back now confident. I did that a lot. I would be the first to admit I did it a lot. These days I try to look back at it as they were just like I feel I tried to do the best. They must try to do the best too.
Appreciation.
You understand? So that's what it is, and we have to look back to learn to go forward. So fellas, more life in good health, or they reach them safe. But they always remember, love and support is action words. You cannot talk about love and you cannot talk about support. It's only things you could do. Right? So be safe out there. Rains these days, or they will be idiots on the road. And we go see all there again on there. Love.
Yeah, man. Yeah, nice. That was good still, man.
Of course.
That was great, not good. That was great. Baby?